and welcome to GoLogica's video featuring the top 5 JavaScript frameworks for 2024. JavaScript frameworks have a major impact on how current websites and applications function and how users interact with them in the quickly changing web development landscape. With the help of these frameworks, developers may create more complex applications with fewer moving parts, maintainable code, and better overall performance. We'll discuss the significance of JavaScript frameworks, their functions, and a list of the top 5 frameworks for 2024 in this video. So, what is a JavaScript framework? JavaScript is all you need to get started when creating a web application. It has every library needed to build every feature needed to ensure the smoothest possible operation of your application. Though it can be laborious and challenging to construct these functionalities every time you need to build an application. The idea of a template simplifies the development process, comparable to an assembly of templates. Frameworks are employed in the development of application functionalities. Developers can create even more complex apps by developing upon the existing framework instead of beginning from scratch when introducing a feature. This allows for quicker and more efficient development. Another name for collection of JavaScript libraries used to create pre-written code for common programming tasks is a framework. So, are you wondering why to use a JavaScript framework? Well, JavaScript frameworks were designed by developers for their own convenience. They let programmers to make use of the newest JavaScript features and tools without having to bear the challenging task of building them manually. These frameworks or templates provide a foundation for software applications. For usage by developers, it compiles and bundles common resources including images, libraries, and reference materials. With the aid of these frameworks, programmers can expand the functionality and add new features to a web page. Now let's see what are the top 5 JavaScript frameworks for 2024. JavaScript frameworks are widely used by programmers for all skill levels. Global developers have consistently chosen JavaScript as the best option for cross-platform software frameworks and faultless web development. The top JavaScript frameworks for 2024 should be considered while creating high-quality software applications. So, GoLogica has picked 5 JavaScript frameworks that are ranked as top 5 in 2024. They are Next JavaScript, React JavaScript, Vue JavaScript, Angular JavaScript, and Ember JavaScript. So, without any delay, let's cover all these 5 JavaScript in detail. So, the first JavaScript which we are going to see is Next JavaScript. This free and open source front-end framework based on React took the programming community by storm with its server-side rendering and improved search engine optimization. We really believe that this is the best framework available for web development. Static web pages, UIs, and universal apps are all created with it. React Router, community libraries, the Node ecosystem, etc. are some of the factors that impact Next JavaScript, which uses React and JavaScript components to complement the user interface. It may generate pages automatically by using the file system structure of the project as a guide. Assuming that there is a folder in the root directory, Next JavaScript will automatically generate a page for each markdown file within it. You can construct apps more quickly as you don't have to manually generate pages for each item of content. Every time content is changed, the incremental static generation functionality allows for the incremental updating of static pages. For accomplishing complete server-side rendering, this is the best JavaScript framework available. Now let's move on to the key features of Next JavaScript. Server-side rendering. By rendering websites on the server, Next JavaScript makes server-side rendering possible right out of the box, enhancing SEO, speeding up browser loads, and enhancing user experience. Static site generation. Next JavaScript generates static HTML files during the construction process, offering lightning fast page loading and resource efficiency. Automatic code splitting. To ensure that only the code required for the given page loads, Next JavaScript automatically splits JavaScript bundles, cutting down on initial load times. Client-side routing. Use Next JavaScript to easily implement client-side routing, which improves the single-page application experience and allows for smooth navigation. File-based routing. The structure of JavaScript is designed to match the roots of the application, providing a user-friendly and intuitive routing system. Inbuilt CSS support. To style your components directly within your next JavaScript application, select from a variety of stylistic methods such as CSS modules, styled components, and SCSS. Static file serving. By shifting files Sorry. By shifting these files to a CDN, you may streamline the serving of static assets like fonts, style sheets, and images while also increasing performance. The second JavaScript which we are going to see is React JavaScript. Presently, the most popular JavaScript front-end framework available for free is called React JavaScript. Creating responsive and interesting user interfaces is possible with React JavaScript. When you have to create massive enterprise applications, this works brilliantly. React JavaScript is utilized in the creation of Instagram and Facebook interfaces. A popular JavaScript framework these days is called React. Based on React, one may create mobile apps and SPAs as well as create beautiful. Based on React, one may create mobile apps and SPAs as well as create beautiful interface for online apps and interactive websites. It uses the DOM to render a state to handle it. So what are the key features of React JavaScript? Let's see. Virtual DOM. Document Object Model is known as DOM. What are the key features of React JavaScript? Let's see. Virtual DOM. Document Object Model is known as DOM because it splits into modules and runs the code. It is the most crucial component of the web. JavaScript frameworks typically update the entire DOM at once, which causes the web application to load slowly. React, however, makes use of virtual DOM, which is a perfect replica of real DOM. Every time the web application is modified, the entire virtual DOM is updated first to identify any differences between the virtual and real DOMs. One-way data binding. Data binding in one direction. As suggested by the name, one-way data binding is a flow that only moves in one direction. Within React, data may only move in a single direction, from parent components to child components or from top to bottom. When a child component has properties, it can communicate with its parent component to change its state based on inputs, but it cannot return to data to its parent component. Next, performance. React employs virtual DOM and updates only the updated push. Performance. React employs virtual DOM and updates only the updated portions as we have already mentioned. Consequently, this speeds up the DOM. The DOM runs in memory, allowing us to divide its components and speed up its execution. Extension. React offers an abundance of extensions that enable us to construct complete user interfaces. In addition to server-side rendering, it facilitates the building of mobile apps. We can design aesthetically pleasing user interfaces by utilizing React Native, Redux, Flux, and other extensions. Components. Due to its component-based architecture, React JavaScript separates the web page into several distinct components. Each component of the UI design has its own logic and design. Hence, it is simple, runs more quickly, and has reusable component logic that is written in JavaScript. Simplicity. React JavaScript leverages JavaScript, a hybrid of HTML and JavaScript, and is component-based, granting code reuse. Because of this, there is less code and it is simpler to read and debug. Moving on to the third, Vue JavaScript. One of the best JavaScript frameworks is Vue JavaScript, which enables the creation of single-page apps. and cross-platform websites and applications. It provides an easy and quick fix for creating captivating web-based interfaces, apps, and user interfaces. It is incredibly popular, adaptable, and user-friendly. It is widely said to as the greatest front-end framework in JavaScript. So, what are the key features of Vue JavaScript? Let's see it. Virtual DOM. Virtual DOM is essentially a JavaScript data structure that is a copy of the main DOM component, ingesting any anticipated DOM changes. The initial data structure and the modification advancements made to JavaScript data structures are contrasted. Users can choose to view only the final modifications that are reflected in the actual document object model. This is an affordable, quick changing method that is innovative and imaginative. Two-way data binding. Because of its MVVM architecture, Vue JavaScript can bind in both directions. To speed up HTML blocks, the QRR can be used to modify or assign values to HTML attributes. Due to the two-way communication feature of Vue JavaScript, any changes made to the data are reflected in the UI and any changes made to the UI are passed to the data. Transition and animation. The ability to apply transition effects to HTML elements as they are added or removed from the DOM is one of the features offered by Vue JavaScript. The element in question, which oversees returning the transition effect, is wrapped by the integrated transition component. Adding third-party animation libraries allows developers to enhance user interactivity. When any element in the transition component is modified, Vue JavaScript's array of transition effects takes effect when transition effects takes place when a target when any element in the transition component is modified. Vue JavaScript's array of transition effects takes place when a target element is applied. Vue detects this automatically and applies classes to CSS transitions and animations, and also directly control the DOM. It hooks up animation libraries for JavaScript. Components. Basic HTML elements can be extended for standalone UI elements using reusable Vue components. Through activities and props, it is crucial that they communicate with one another. As a Vue instance with preset parameters, components or custom elements that attach behavior to the Vue compiler. The foundation creating reliable, scalable apps with Vue is a code snippet of a component. Easy to understand. Yes, this structure is incredibly easy, which is one of the reasons for its appeal. Because of its simple structure, the customer can easily integrate Vue JavaScript into its online project. Its highly defined design ensures that your data, lifecycle methods, and customized tactics are all independent. In addition, it boasts some amazing features like viewers, registered properties, and directives that simplify the process of creating a state-of-the-art online application. With this framework, any size organization may be established, saving a significant amount of time. Authenticated and full stack applications. Most Vue applications have data-driven user interfaces, with most of the data coming from a secure API created with the server frameworks such as Laravel, Node, Django, Rails, or another one. These data offer real-time data using WebSockets, GraphQL, or a traditional REST API. To safeguard user data in a Vue application, the design patterns are typically utilized to incorporate Vue into a full stack setup. So what's next? It's Angular JavaScript. Angular JavaScript is a potent web development framework built with JavaScript. Its purpose is to make web development more user-friendly and efficient. The model view controller, that is MVC architecture, on which Angular JavaScript is built, facilitates the development of dynamic online applications. In addition, it offers a plethora of capabilities, including data binding, dependency injection, and template systems that enhance efficiency of web development. Furthermore, because Angular JavaScript is so modular, creating unique modules and frameworks is a breeze. With the use of directives, Angular JavaScript enables you to expand the vocabulary of HTML to add interactivity to your Angular applications, improving readability, expressiveness, and development ease. To make development even easier, Angular JavaScript comes with a variety of inbuilt capabilities like dependency injection and data binding. Are there any key features for Angular JavaScript? Of course, yes. Data binding. There are two primary ways that Angular JavaScript makes data binding easier. One-way data binding, two-way data binding. A strong feature that makes synchronization between the display and the model easier is data binding in the Angular JavaScript framework. This feature allows developers to add data binding features to an Angular application without having to write separate code. Any changes made to the application objects will also automatically update the user interface and vice versa. And HTML controls data can be readily bound to application data by Angular JavaScript developers with a few lines of code. Moreover, no extra code is needed to secure it using an HTML control. The ideal MVC. The application data is managed by a model layer in the ideal MVC model view architecture. The data the data is shown by the view layer, and the model and view layer are connected by the controller. It is among the greatest aspects of Angular JavaScript, which is why web developers should use it. You should divide your application into its component parts according to other MVC frameworks. Splitting out an app's component means you have to develop the code to connect them, which takes a lot of time. Nevertheless, the Angular JavaScript framework handles the rest of the work for you. All of you have to do is divide the program into MVC. Testing capabilities. Testability is carefully considered in the design of Angular JavaScript, together with a full suite of tools for end-to-end, end-to-end and unit testing. It comes with its own testing framework. End-to-end unit testing helps to guarantee that high quality, well documented, and easily maintainable code is written. The framework offers an abundance of powerful alternatives to Angular JavaScript developers, removing the requirement for application support to rely on outside applications. Support dependency injection. The dependency injection technology that comes with Angular JavaScript makes it possible for developers to manage services and dependencies effectively. The dynamic introduction of required functionality into modules during runtime is referred to as dependency injection. Because of Angular JavaScript's reliable dependency injection technique, developers can construct, manage, and test apps with ease. This method facilitates the definition and use of services across several modules for increased efficiency and flexibility. It also encourages code modularity and reusability. A declarative user interface. In order to construct its user interface, Angular JavaScript uses HTML. Short tags and easy to understand declarative language characterize HTML. This is the reason behind the user-friendly, well-organized UI of Angular JavaScript web apps. Special properties in HTML control how each element is used, and HTML also controls how the application is executed. It is these characteristics that dictate what and how to get loaded. Due to its what you see is what you get premise, this method streamlines the web app development process. The Angular framework will do all the work. All you need to do is specify your needs. Do you need the best Angular JavaScript developers to create an interactive user interface for your web application? In just 1 week, hire web developers by getting in touch with us now. Filters. The user experience is enhanced by the strong data formatting capabilities offered by Angular JavaScript filters. They enable functions like sorting, filtering, and transformation by enabling developers to handle data before displaying it to the user. Lists can be arranged in either ascending or descending order. Search results can be refined and data can even be altered to improve readability. This feature ensures that consumers receive information in the most practical and effective way possible, significantly enhancing the overall efficacy and usability of web applications. So the last JavaScript which we are going to see is Ember JavaScript. Ember JavaScript was created in 2011 by Yehuda Katz. Ember is a component-based JavaScript framework. The stable release of Ember came out in 2016. With the provision of a router, display layer, and data management library, Ember aims to elevate the quality and productivity of web development by offering a complete toolkit that covers every stage of the process. For server-side rendering in Ember apps, Ember employs its fast-boot technology. JavaScript assets don't need to be downloaded for browsers and other clients to receive rendered HTML pages when using fastboot. Any elements or service in Ember can be labeled as such, and it is always accessible throughout the Ember project and can be called at any moment. This implies you can take a lengthy HTML template file and opt to divide it into two smaller pieces. These smaller pieces can be placed in the app, that is component folder, converting the larger portion of the template into a component that can be referred to as a custom HTML tag. Additionally, the URL in the browser and Ember's routing mechanism are tightly integrated. Routers are mapped to URLs by Ember using its router, assisting with data loading, template display, and app state display. The router can match the current URL to other routes. Let's move on to the key features of Ember JavaScript components. One option to make the code easier to understand and maintain is to break up long and readable code portions into smaller ones. Routing. The routing capability, which is introduced by Routing Ember, makes it distinct from other URL management tools. Services. With the help of Ember CLI, you may construct a third-party service that can be made available in your Ember application at any point during its lifetime. Ember data models. Depending on the challenges that they aim to tackle, different apps use different models. Although an application may include a checkout or cart model, we anticipate that the data will remain intact even if the user refreshes the application. The Ember data model allows us to obtain this persistent data. So now we have covered all the top 5 JavaScript for 2024. So how are you going to choose a JavaScript? Like what is the best way to choose a JavaScript framework? Before selecting a JavaScript framework, it is important to take into account the project requirements, which includes the size, complexity, scalability, and performance needs of the online application. You can use this to determine which JavaScript framework is suitable for your particular project. To create an enterprise-grade web application or mobile application with sophisticated duties and scalable needs, you should use a well-known JavaScript framework. Similarly, with data binding and cross-platform interoperability, Angular is a wonderful choice if you are building single-page web applications. So we saw how to select a JavaScript framework according to your needs. Now let's see what are the things you should consider before selecting a framework. JavaScript frameworks play a crucial role in streamlining the entire web development process and resulting in significant time, effort, and cost savings. But no single framework is ideal for every project. Every option has pros and cons on its own, and the selection process should be based on the needs of the project. Therefore, to settle on a single framework, you must take into account a number of factors such as existing tool stack. For the specific website or application, it is imperative that JavaScript be utilized as a front-end programming language. When using Python or Java, for instance, one has to select among the corresponding frameworks. If you want to apply a framework to an already existing website, you will need to take additional considerations into account. For example, it is necessary to compare the cost and duration of developing a new website using a framework against using the same framework within pre-existing code. The next one is complexity. Understanding the next one is complexity. Understanding the project scope is crucial for you. This is so that some frameworks which are limited to being used for building SPAs can accommodate huge apps. You need to determine which framework would meet the best requirements of your project. The third one, performance conditions. One more crucial thing you should think about is how quickly your website loads. Some frameworks might give priority to fast answers because of their emphasis on virtual DOM. A stronger framework, however, would be a preferable choice if your project calls for more integrated features and controls. The last but not the least, technical competence. Although certain JavaScript frameworks may be somewhat complex, it offer a greater number of capabilities. Others may be straightforward to learn and use. You can choose an easy to use framework based on your level of experience if you wish to use one quickly. However, if you know programming well or have the time to learn, a sophisticated framework may end up being more advantageous in the long term. Now it's time to wrap up. JavaScript continues to be the most widely used language in web development. However, there are users, advantages, and disadvantages specific to each JavaScript framework. So, when you weigh your options, bear that in mind. Examine your project's requirements in detail before deciding on a framework for your application. There are unique features in every framework that you could require when developing. Think about the complexity, compatibility documentation, and community support in addition to the features. Our selection of the top 5 JavaScript frameworks should help you choose the right one for you. If you want to learn JavaScript, check out our post on the best places to get courses. We have now finished listing all 5 JavaScript frameworks. We have now finished listing out the top 5 JavaScript frameworks. So which one is your favorite? Let us know in the comment. So also please, if you have any questions, please post it in the comment. We will help you with it. Thank you.